Hello, hello to everybody. Welcome. Welcome to what is likely to be an interesting session in the markets. We'll talk about that a little bit. All right, and I think we're all set up. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is June 10th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So if you were in attendance last Tuesday during Engineering the Markets, you would have heard us discuss what is likely to be sort of a catalyst for today's price action. And that's going to be specifically the CPI report. Now, for those who were unable to attend, obviously, I do recommend maybe going back to that recording and maybe looking at some of the discussions that were covered there. But ultimately, what we're considering today is that there is a report coming out in about roughly 30 minutes. This report is known as the Consumer Price Index, and it's going to measure for the market some of the average price levels of fixed baskets of goods and services. And essentially what that all culminates into is where is inflation and how hot or cold is this report going to come in relative to expectations. Now, what I've noticed over the past couple of days is that that has become basically the topic of discussion for a lot of different channels and basically people who are doing analysis on the market. So obviously there's a lot of eyes on this event, and we're actually seeing some footprints of large market participants starting to prepare for this event, because at the end of the day, this is a relatively binary event. Markets could easily go higher based on the findings of this report. Markets could easily drop from this with the fact that we did have a nice run up based on some of the job report numbers from last week, specifically in tech and growth names. And from the fact that there is sort of a non-directionality based on an event such as this, usually market participants, large ones, tend to hedge in some fashion prior to this event. You've also seen very clearly on the SPY, we haven't really seen a lot of directional movement in the past couple of days. Intraday, we've seen basically a lot of range-based trading. There certainly is a lot of value placed in these upper sort of 422 to 423 levels now that the market has stalled for a period of a couple of days. And when we look at just volume profile to see how that has sort of formed, yes, our BPOC for larger time frames is still slightly below us, but bring it down to a 2-hour and we see they do have some shelving action inside of this indicator. Bring up my pen. So these shelves of value are being placed here. And what this essentially means is that market participants are either positioned directionally to the long side, directionally to the short side, or somewhat neutral. And the reaction that we see from the CPI report is likely going to spark volatility in this market. Remembering, of course, that volatility is a non-directional aspect of market conditions. So overall, we've been doing analysis to define trading ranges to sort of understand where risk is placed in things like the SPY, the Qs, etc. And the idea is that if markets move into certain trading ranges, specifically price levels that we've seen historically, we expect additional volatility due to some of the previous price action. I would say that the SPY being at all-time highs and not necessarily having the same reaction as prior, moving us into that sort of 405 more volatile area of the market. That was a good sign for a period of time. But because we have stalled and because so much is hinging on this particular report, things have basically shifted into sort of a relative question mark for what to expect today. I would gander that whatever the reaction is, allow the market to settle over a period of maybe 15 to 20 minutes during the market open, as whatever reaction we do get is likely going to be met with a lot of back and forth as people are trying to realign their sort of positional risk in the market. And that's sort of that morning auction theory. Essentially, the market will battle to decide where value should be moving forward now that it has additional information. And even more, I would say, advisable is if we do not move away from this upper range, if we're roughly at 422 to 423 during the market open, I would say that moves away from this area should be treated with some sort of respect. And the idea is that if we get that movement in the intraday session, this is the type of catalyst that can move us from a large value zone into higher prices or lower prices regardless. Some of the selling that occurred yesterday was actually sort of an early sign that market participants are likely taking a bit of profit into this this known event. And some other areas that we may want to consider watching when the market opens are things as simple as our volatility index. Yesterday and the day prior, we were seeing a bit of a bid inside of the volatility index. Obviously, this thing is still at some very significant lows that have not been seen since the COVID lows. But in periods of calm, it is advisable, once again, to look at the sort of early indications that markets are trying to heat back up. And that's good for us as traders because we do want some sort of directional, I would say, bias in the market to allow us to actually benefit from the movements. But specifically with volatility heating up, we simply want to see, in what way are market participants afraid or hedging their overall positions. Another way you can look at volatility and sort of the, I would say, amount of hedging that's occurring or how aggressive the hedging is occurring is something known as the VVIX. And it's a fairly, I would say, derivative index. It's not something that I look at often, but whenever I do see large gap ups or gap downs in the VVIX, and I'll explain what it actually tracks, those are things that I certainly want to pay attention to. So the idea behind this index is that inside of the VIX index, there are options that you can trade. You can't trade the VIX itself directly. You can obviously go out and buy futures, which is what the VIX is derived from. So you can go out there and just buy VX future contracts, regardless whatever month expiration you're looking into. Or you can go into the VIX option chain and you can buy very similar sort of call spreads, put spreads, whatever sort of option strategy you're looking into. Now, in this time, I don't want to go into the complexity of VIX options. They're not as simple as some of the equity options. They actually track futures contracts in a different way than the actual VIX pricing that we see inside of our charts. But one thing that a lot of market participants do is they use VIX options as a way to hedge. They expect volatility to rise. They maybe want to take a directional bet, expecting that the VIX index will actually go higher over a period of time, or they simply want to protect some of their downside risk, and they're using it more as just a small position to maybe benefit from in the short term. And yesterday we did see, I would say, not an insignificant amount of calls being bought or utilized, but something that's either at the norm over the past 5 days, maybe slightly elevated. Specifically, as we look into the option time and sales, of course, my platform got an error there, so that's probably not going to work. We'll see if it's going to give me some other issues. But in the option time and sales, there was quite a large number of, I would say, large lots being bought at the same time, usually in the form of some sort of spread. The time frame was roughly in the morning, hence the elevated volatility throughout the session. But it seemed as if market participants, large ones, were starting to put on their hedges for this event. And going back to the VVIX, the basic idea here is that whenever the VVIX is elevated, it is stating that not only is implied volatility inside of the VIX options elevated, but people are paying that heightened implied volatility and they're willing to bid it higher. So what does this mean? We have some examples inside of some of the more aggressive stocks that we've been trading as of late, the AMCs, the GMEs. And when you're in an environment of heightened volatility, option markets have to adjust for the expected move of that product to be expanded. If something normally only trades $2 to $3 a day, and then all of a sudden some event expands that range to maybe be closer to $10 to $20 a day, the option market has to price that in. Otherwise, there is an advantage to premium buyers. Basically, the fact that the move is so wide, there becomes more of a statistical edge to actually be somewhat directional. Even if you're wrong in the short term, you can take advantage of that. So implied volatility helps price the options correctly based on expected movement, and it's all based around Black-Scholes model, which is how the option market tends to price contracts. So with the VVIX, it's a very simple way for us to see that volatility inside of the VIX options has been going higher because the binary event that is expected is starting to be priced in based on activity of people buying contracts and also just a known binary event of the market. But pricing that in is not enough. That happens every single day. Every earnings report, every time we have some known event, the options market will attempt to adjust for the expected move. What's more interesting is that are market participants willing to pay up for that elevated protection? And specifically with volatility contracts, are they willing to pay up for hedging? Which tells us as sort of the retail crowd that yes or no, they're actually hedging quite strongly and they're paying higher and higher prices to do so, which means they really take this upcoming event seriously. They do believe that it's going to affect, the overall range of the market and increase the volatility of things like the SPY. Once again, not necessarily directional, just something to keep in mind. The trading ranges may start to expand moving forward based on what we're seeing. So very simple approach here is just that as you see the VVIX going higher, you may want to take note that yes, volatility is elevated, that happens often. It may be a 1 to 2 day event. It may be a nothing sort of event, just some sort of quick uptick in volatility. It was cheap. Now it's, fair value. But in that increase in volatility, are we also seeing people pay up for buying the volatility? That becomes important because it shows, the obligation that they have to pay higher and higher prices because they need that protection. And that's something that we did discuss briefly yesterday inside of one of the sessions inside of the chat, the idea of necessity and the fact that you have to pay whatever price you need to protect your portfolio. If we see that inside of something like the VVIX, we know things are going to be serious. So keep that in mind moving forward, not only for today, but if you're ever interested in some sort of portfolio risk mitigation, if you're ever looking to buy and sell VIX options, or even if you're doing futures trading and you're using some of the volatility futures, some of these concepts are pretty heavily correlated into how you can utilize each of those different instruments. Some people will use the heightened VIX option implied volatility in order to actually sell premium. They'll actually collect some of that heightened, I'll say, implied volatility of the VIX as a way to basically sort of generate a little bit of premium income. Usually that's when maybe things are a bit overblown. We expect some sort of contraction. But in this case, because the VVIX is so elevated, it's actually saying that IV inside of the VIX options may go higher as long as they keep bidding it higher, keep buying protection for their portfolio. So just something to kind of add to your toolbook. I do recommend maybe looking a bit more into some of these indexes if you are interested. There's a lot to them. They tend to be more advanced in regards to how to utilize some of the movement inside of them. And keep in mind that as retail traders, we simply want to understand prior to the event what to expect. Obviously you want to be buying volatility hedges when IV is low. You should be doing that when markets are more calm, when they're starting to basically settle into that sort of range compression and things aren't really moving that much. But we expect movement based on this report, and the markets tend to compress before large range expansion. So you have to get your protection on early, not only because you never know when those breakouts or breakdowns will occur, but also because the prices go up while the market is calm. So you want to be early. You want to give yourself enough time to allow for the market to do what it needs to do, and then obviously use these indicators or indexes to sort of track whether other market participants also believe that something more serious is about to come. So a couple of notes from yesterday's session. We did talk about the idea that the Bitcoin USD pairing chart was showing the potential for a bounce. Now, long term, whether or not that low holds as sort of a significant low moving forward, I think no one can say that at this time. But what we did see was that there was a big move away from a value zone, roughly 36,800, give or take, inside of the pennant structure of the Bitcoin chart, that moved away to about 31,000. And on the reaction of 31,000, we saw a lot of follow through to the upside. What was interesting about that analysis was the minor stocks, the RIOTs, the MARAs, I would say to a lesser degree, CAN, maybe SOS, and even something like MSTR, which is the company that Michael Saylor runs as CEO. All of these stocks were showing some sort of early signals that maybe prices wanted to move higher. Specifically, things like RIOT and MARA, I think, were the most clear because we had some very straightforward trading ranges that have been built over time. Obviously, RIOT is in sort of a relative downtrend in the larger time frame. And some of these aggressive buys down here were facilitated maybe by the 200 period moving average on the daily. But we did see a move away from this zone of consolidation. You could think of this as a bit of range compression, as it did form a bit of a pennant at the lows, and we did move higher. And we got this sort of pullback that was immediately bought back up the day prior to yesterday. And seeing this inside of the intraday sessions was an interesting signal that, the miners are actually looking relatively bullish at these levels. They're showing that they're rejecting a lower value. They came to test it and said, do I want to move into this range again? The market said no. You need to stay in your upper range, and specifically on this rejection and the fact that we did have a bit of elevated volume, you may come to test your upper range, which is going to be closer to about the 30.5 area. But, with Bitcoin actually bouncing, it actually gave it a bit more energy, and we did have a decent breakout session inside of RIOT, MARA, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the other names maybe were a bit less holding inside of the breakout. So once again, a great example of how if you have maybe some correlated assets, and think about something as simple as gold and the gold miners. Typically, the gold miners will lead the actual asset breaking higher or lower. So if you see a little bit of a bid inside of something like the gold miners, they are starting to move higher over a period of time where the asset itself is consolidating, maybe even starting to base. You may look at that and say, well, someone knows something. Miners are starting to pick back up, and the asset class hasn't moved yet. And that can allow you to maybe position yourself to catch either the miner movement or the asset class movement once it actually does facilitate the move. And, we did see that with gold over the past couple of months. Things like GDX, GDXJ, sort of the ETFs that most people use for gold miners, those did have some, I would say, relatively simple breakout structures while gold was forming more of a double bottom closer to the, I believe, the 1700 range. We can take a look at that real quick. Yeah, 1676. So during this time frame here, where we had sort of that double bottom, we can look at something like GDX and say, not only did it bounce at roughly the same time as the first point of gold, but then it formed that higher low and actually started to move higher. This is roughly 330 to 331 on the time frame. This is where gold was making that double bottom, but the miners had already started to push higher. So something, once again, another toolbox item. I like to see these in play. And with something relatively new to a lot of us, things like crypto, it's interesting to see some of the miner stocks that actually, their business model is to actually generate coins. It's interesting to see them have similar, I would say, like leading indication that the asset class may also follow suit in the short term. So hopefully some of people who were attending yesterday took advantage of that. It was on my watch list. Unfortunately, I did not trade it. I was too focused on some meme stocks overall. But this was a really nice breakout in RIOT. And ultimately, if Bitcoin holds and starts to move higher from some sort of maybe like 4-hour trend reversal that is starting to potentially form, because that bounce did have quite a bit of follow through, I would expect RIOT to maybe sort of lead that as well, maybe a bit of a pullback consolidation and looking for a breakout above the previous swing lows set in early March. Mara looks very similar. Actually, Mara is actually a bit structurally stronger because it did clear the swing low. And then I mentioned a few more. CAN, a little bit less impressive, obviously sold into that momentum. Someone brought up SOS in the chat. Once again, didn't really see the same advantage as the other miners. And then MSTR, MicroStrategy, seeing a huge increase in volume based on it because a lot of their core holdings are Bitcoin. Some interesting notes to take. Hopefully, once again, hopefully people took advantage of that. I didn't, but the idea is to be early, not to chase, and to understand why it's happening. Seeing the reaction in the asset class, seeing the test of the miners or the companies that hold some of these assets, and then trading the reaction, not chasing it, and not necessarily expecting the world out of the continuation, because we are still in sort of a bearish posture overall. But these are some advantageous levels to look at depending on your time frame. If you're intraday, you took advantage already. If you're swing mindseted, obviously keep an eye on the Bitcoin chart to see if anything changes. And then obviously if you're long term, these can be some pretty amazing buy points if things do turn around overall in the crypto market. So with that said, that's pretty much my time. I don't really have much else to cover. Hopefully this analysis has been beneficial. 5 minutes to the CPI report, so definitely put on your helmets, strap into your seats, and get ready for probably some volatility today. I'd be very surprised if we did not get it. And let the market tell you where they want to move value, because if anything's going to move this market over the past week or so, it's going to be this report. Allow that to develop, and then ultimately do not fight the price action if they are starting to move higher or lower, because that can be a trend day sort of structure that does not necessarily have to go back in any form or fashion. That can just keep going, opening and closing against the highs and lows. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe. Be prepared for today's volatility. Hopefully have your protections on for your portfolio allocations, and then we'll see what comes of this movement in the report. So take it easy. We'll talk more tomorrow. And obviously stay tuned for pre-market prep in about 5 minutes.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Thor. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Carlos. How are you today, brother?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. All right, guys. Welcome. Norm will be off today. He is actually not feeling too hot at the moment, so he will be taking off this morning. We should have him back by tomorrow. So, good vibes his way. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's look at what we had yesterday. We had a bit of a nice start to the day right out of the gates on a lot of these tickers. Let's look at some, and I'm going to start with the ones that were gapping up big yesterday. Here's CLVS, big gap. I know you're looking at the 5 minute. Do I have my Epic pen out here? There we go. Yeah, so big gap up sold off yesterday. That was one of them. We had also Wish, same situation here, guys. Big gap up, gap up yesterday, sold off as well. CLOV, same situation. So we had a lot of that throughout the entire day yesterday, except on AMC and also BB, because both of these they were really just just kind of moving sideways here, trying to hold on to the move that they had over the last couple of days. So that was a day yesterday. Let's take a look at some of the actual action on the 5 minute. Starting here with BB, let's get our 5 minute in place. Here we go. Is that it? 9. Yeah. Down pretty nice, guys. And look at the way this breaks out here. Lovely. Amazing continuation as it starts breaking out of some of these highs towards the high of the day, pre-market high as well, right in here. So that was pretty nice yesterday on BB, and then from there you do get a nice little drop into the market close right on here. So that's a nice drop there on BB as well. So if you're patient, definitely a lot of opportunities there on BB yesterday. Next we had a FSLY. This one, a beautiful. What I like about this one, guys, let me zoom in a little bit more. It is the opening range breakdown on this one. Several things happening here. You had a 5 minute opening range. Does give you a very deep pullback towards the VWAP. That's a great entry for sure. And also, if you're playing this off the daily levels, this 57 here is the highs from 2 days ago now, but yesterday was the high from the previous day. And you can see there, once it loses that, that's another great entry for a possible run. Obviously, this thing does not want to stay above the VWAP, does not going to continue any higher, and a beautiful run here towards the bottom does hit this 55 and then some. So pretty nice there. And if you have an entry anywhere in this area, anywhere up here, you can survive this pullback easily, right? Obviously, you'll take some profits out of the way here, and then you survive this pullback. And again, it requires a lot of patience. You're looking at 11 o'clock now. You could take advantage of another drop here as well in FSOY. So pretty nice there. Heading over, we had also AMC, same situation like BB, a little bit of a rough start at the market open. It does settle down, cannot get above some of these moving averages, and you do get this drop. BB was a little bit cleaner because it did push up a lot higher, did a double, somewhat of I'm not sure like that's considered a mountain pass. It could be. Hold on. It might be too far out. It might be too far out. It could be. I have to look at the details. But nice double top here and then the drop here on BB. So that was AMC. CLOV, guys, was very clean from the bell. This thing just sold off all the way down, guys. Breaking down the low of the day here. Continuing after that, hitting 23, a level that we had. It does hit lower all the way down to 17 before the day ends. So pretty big drop for them. They were sitting at around 28, 29. And then just got crushed yesterday. And then we looked at Wish on the bigger picture, but same thing here on the smaller time frame. Breaks down nicely, hits some of these levels, 1433, 1444, loses that level, heads down to 13, cannot stay above that, and then continues all the way down to 10. This is a very good move, guys. That's a $4 move. Right, so that's a very, very good move on Wish here. All right, so that is what we have. We also have even Wendy's yesterday also sold off nicely, guys. Look at this drop here on Wendy's and just continue beautifully all the way down here. Never really looking the other way on Wendy's. So that's what we have. Thor, let's take a look overall market. I know there's some numbers coming out today that might be actually
Yeah,
out
they
already.
actually just came out. Some numbers have already started to come out today, and you can see the SPY is actually already having a little bit of a reaction to it. Our volume has increased by about, I don't know, 10 or 20 times about 5 minutes ago. In the past few minutes, it looks like just off the cup, looks like CPI numbers are up 3.8% in the past year, which would be the highest since 1992. And with that kind of concept, S&P futures have already came off, a couple tenths of a percent, and the Nasdaq futures are starting to drop a little bit, and you're seeing SPY get a little crazy, and who knows what this, we've got jobless claims fall, 9,000 or something like that. So we've definitely got some market catalyst today, which could be nice. It's always really nice. Remember, we're day traders, and day traders need volatility. So when we get numbers like this is good news. So good or bad, it's an opportunity. So the main thing will be to do is not to make an assumption about what's going to happen with this news. Rather just kind of wait. I do notice that on the SPY for the weekly now, we've spent almost an entire month stuffing into the 423 area, right, over and over and over again for the past, like I said, about a month now. And I think a lot of us are kind of expecting this thing to peel off a little bit at some point in time, right? And kind of do what stock markets do. You got to ebb to flow, and we have no ebb, so we have no flow. So the SPY has just been kind of chopping up here. So maybe this news will be what we need in order to at least move this thing around a little bit and give us some better trading days. Because I know if you guys, we've had some relatively choppy days because the SPY hasn't been moving, and everyone's just kind of been sitting around waiting for all of this information to come out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. WSB guys, if you they have I don't know if most of you know, WSB actually has a little website out now where they post all their top picks, and they actually have a ranking for their members, so you can actually see who's watching and how many users are watching which stock, which is kind of interesting. So it looks like so if you guys ever check that out. But if the meme stocks, I also noticed, have been losing a little bit of steam the past couple of days. And a little bit of word on the street is that a lot of blocks on some of these insiders were sold off the past couple of days. So it should be interesting to see what this day holds. Maybe a little volatility, so it should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to today's day, guys. It's going to be very, very interesting. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get our pen over here. Someone's asking what tool are we using to write. We're actually using Epic Pen. And Thor, I think you use the same one as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, I love that tool. It's great.
It's an amazing tool. Got a bunch of things in here. You could do short keys as well, hotkeys for it. So it's pretty neat. Definitely pick it up. Epic tool, Epic Pen is the name of it, and it's completely free. Also, I got the pay version because I like to support people that do an amazing job. And they did an amazing job, so I paid them $19 just to support them because that's a really good tool. All right, guys, let's get to it. Same. Yeah, let's get to it. And it gives you more features too. You're not just throwing your money there. It gives you a little more features there. Let's get rid of this list and let's look at our gappers list. And as we can see, this thing is massive on both ends, guys. So we're gonna have some fun today.
Yeah, there were like 4 stocks on it, like 5 minutes ago, and then as soon as these numbers news came out, this gap list is moving quick now.
It is ramping up pretty fast here. Let's start with a couple of low flow stocks here. We got let's get that out of the way. 1.2, 4.4, and 500,000. I think it's 500,000 or 5,000. We'll have to see. And then 2.4 here. So let's look at these 4 first, see what's going on there. This one here, MDLY, is up 112% this morning. So this is just insane what's happening here at the moment. Thor, any news overall on what's happening there on this one? Do they have a catalyst behind it?
I don't see anything overtly fresh today. I mean, I know in the earlier part of June, they had a notice regarding like a delayed 10Q filing. Mm-hmm. And that was like after some distribution stuff even a while ago. I'm not seeing anything that's just jumping out at me right now, but I'll look around. If I find something good, I'll get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is let's take a look at this one in a bit. It's 1.2 million shares float, guys. So it's very low float. You want to be very careful with this one. The next one we have is OSAT. This is 4 million shares float, also up 38%. Pretty nice here. 1.9 million shares traded. Again, these are all going to be about the price action and how they break out. So I'm going to put them on here on the low flow stock list at the moment. We'll come back and see how they're looking a little bit later. So right now, just throwing those 2 on there. Zevo here is this correct? 5.45. What is this? Yeah, it is a 5,000. I don't know. That can't be right, but it's showing 5,000 shares float. I don't know about that. They are up 26%, 1.7 million shares traded right now. So Yeah, let's skip on that. Let's get more information. We know about EDU and TAL. These are the two Chinese companies, educational companies that do not trade very well. Today, though, they're getting a nice little pop after being slammed over the last couple of weeks. I mean, both of them are just not doing well. It's just negative catalyst after negative catalyst, and has been like this for some time, with some regulations that are going to be coming out in China when it comes to education. So they're not doing too well, but it looks like something happened last night or early this morning, where they're both getting some kind of very interesting pop here. So I wonder if some of those regulations are not passing. Not sure. But either way, guys, be careful if you are going to be watching this. I hope that today, with such a long list on both sides of the field, that we can find something better than these two. So I'm going to skip them for now. Here's LEDs, another low flow, not looking too hot right now. It only has 111,000 shares traded. I know you can trade very well because we had a lot of fun with this early May. It hasn't done all that in a long time, and the reason is because of the volume. Look at the volume we have here, 159 million. We haven't seen volume like that in the last couple of days. So they're making big moves and no volume. That's usually not a great thing for us. So I'm going to keep it off this list, guys. If it does get better in the pre-market, throw it back out. So CLF this morning, big day yesterday, possible continuation, guys. A few of the things that are up this morning that haven't that did not gap down or sell off yesterday as they did. Let's add this one on here, CLF and Thor. You know how this goes. If you have any catalysts, just jump in and cut me off. No problem.
You got it.
Envis on fire today. Envis is definitely moving, guys. Up 5.4 just in the last couple of 15-10 minutes here. 6% now, some good volume coming in. There's definitely something happening there. We'll add this to our list. There's Envis, CAN this morning. So Jared spoke a lot about all the Bitcoin plays. They're all up this morning, right? So they're looking for some kind of a bounce here. They've been slammed a little bit over the last couple of months, couple of weeks. So we're seeing a little bit of a push towards the upside here. I'm going to.
I know Invis is getting added to the Russell 2000, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is? Yeah, stocks tend to do that when they're going to get added to one of the indexes or something like that. They'll tend to move here. Let's just see if this is going to actually do something for us today as far as when the market opens here. But looking good right now. CLF, we do have, what's the last? So about the Bitcoins, I'm probably going to keep Mara right now. Mara is up 2.6, 322,000 shares traded. So we'll add Mara here for now. Let's see where this goes. TIGR's daily looks interesting. Pre-market is okay, not great, but their daily does look a little bit interesting. I'm not going to add too much because I know we have a lot to go through here. So I'm going to only add Mara. I'm going to skip on RIOT. We do have some other ones here. CAN is also in here. BCTX, we'll look at this quickly. Again, on a day like today, I'm not gonna worry about something that's trading like this with only 105,000 shares traded and a horrible daily. So we'll skip that. And also a low flow, guys, 6.5. Make sure you note that there. Bark is on here, and it's not really doing a loud bark here at all. This thing is pretty quiet right now. Up 3.7, 346,000 shares traded. Also a lower flow stock at 19 million. So we need to see something a little bit better than that to make it on our low flow list. Right now we have two monsters right now. This one's up 40%. This one's up 123%, both with amazing volume. MDLY getting a little bit of a bounce here at 10, so that could be interesting there if you're trading pre-market. Hopefully you're getting a good entry on that one. MRO's daily is interesting here, but I'm not sure how well this trades. So we'll skip on this one for now. Let's head on down. NCTY. This is one that we looked at in the past quite a bit. This morning, they're up 2.3, 281,000 shares traded. Decent day yesterday, but if I recall, and again, I want to confuse this one. I don't think this trades very well. So again, we'll have to be careful. Yesterday did have a nice little breakout towards 1 o'clock here, guys. Beautiful pop there. Look at the volume coming in. 1 million almost every five-minute day. That's pretty good. So we'll see. I'm not sure if they have the legs to do that again. Notice on the daily, right? They have like one day out of nowhere that they get great volume. Then the next one is pretty light, almost nothing, right? So they could be exhausted now here on this chart. Maybe that's possible. I hope that we can drop this one and find something better. Let's take a look at Space. Is coming up here. Space usually pretty good. Right now up 1.8 just in the last 5 minutes or so. So this is good. Maybe Space getting ready to blast off here. We'll put that on there.
Yeah, there's been there was an update this morning on a class action lawsuit that they were involved in on behalf of the shareholders. I'm not sure what the result of that is. I was just reading that now, but it looks, you know, generically from the looks of it, it must not have been a bad update because people are buying. So, yeah, so space might have a little extra fuel today on that.
Absolutely. Guys, over on YouTube, if you're having issues getting into the chat room, there's no issue. It's just the calendar comes up first now. That just changed yesterday. I don't know if that was intentional or not. We'll find out. But scroll to the bottom and hit, and you can see the login information. I had to do the same thing too. I had to do a double take and say, oh, well, where's the link? It's right at the bottom, so you can get in easily. Thor, you're laughing. You probably did the same thing.
100%. I actually refreshed the screen and then went back in again and was like staring at it like, what happened here? Am I in the wrong thing? And then I scrolled to and then I was like, oh, it's a calendar, cool. And then I scrolled to the bottom. I was like, oh, this is really neat. But yeah, I was.
So I'm sure Abby is busy responding to people now, I'm sure. All right, let's see what's gapping down today, guys. OCGN, we looked at this one before in the past, and today they're down huge, guys, 28%, 23 million shares traded, definitely in play. Thor, what's going on with this one, man? What's happening? Obviously, something is falling apart here, and this one down 28% this morning.
OCGN, so they've got actually a few things coming in today. Looks like they've got they filed for the full U.S. approval of a COVID shot instead of a user licensing agreement. They also announced a new senior vice president and some other strategies that they expect for helping their push. So looks like some good things. So,
yeah, definitely sounds good, but this daily does not look good, guys. I'll tell you that. It's very, very choppy. I love this drop here, but one of the things that we're missing here is inventory for short with Interactive Broker, so that is not nice. So
exactly,
a great volume. It is down 28%. I won't put this on my main list. I think this is like more of a very low possible, depending how things go here. But again, the volume and the gap down is really there at the moment. So let's remove it from our main list. I'm sure we can find something better. AMED, AMD. This one here was on fire yesterday pre-market, guys. This thing gapped up 350%. Right? If you missed it, here's the action. And if I remember correctly, Norm had mentioned they cured someone from COVID. And so that was their catalyst yesterday. And look at this pop here, just insane, going from $3 all the way to 19, just in the pre-market. Looks like it started late the previous day. On here, you can see that the volume is just coming in. Now, that's no coincidence because this stock hasn't done anything. So you get that going, and then some people knew what was happening here very early on, and they forgot to text Thor and I, but that's okay. And then you can see here the takeoff, pretty nice. So today it's active, guys, down 18%, 2.2 million shares traded. It is a low flow stock, so we'll put it on here with the other two that are looking very, very nice this morning as far as low flow. So we'll put it down there. Next, we have MTLS. This one this morning, horrible daily, guys, horrible pre-market action. Look at the volume. Well, don't look at the volume because there's none. You know, this thing is not trading any volume, right? So don't even look at it. Let's go to the next one. CELH this morning, they are gapping down huge, guys, 14%, 215,000 shares traded, but also the volume is pretty light. It is not a low flow stock, sitting at 29 million. But I'm just concerned this thing might not trade very well. Also, without the volume, without getting some great volumes and good movements here, this thing is moving from $65 down to 63, down to 61. What is the spread? The spread is actually not that bad for the way this thing is moving, but I'm concerned that it can get nasty here with this spread. And also, without great volume, this price action, which is huge for us, reading that price action at level 2, there's going to be none for this. So I'm concerned with that one. We'll skip it. Fuel cell here this morning.
They had a public offering yesterday, so and I think that's still. I think they're probably still have a little bit going on from that.
Yeah, and usually from what we see, public offerings are not the best catalyst. Usually, you know, they can tend to do something, but they're really not the best when it comes to our type of trading. Fuel cell is next. They are down nicely here, 12.2. I think I'm going to definitely add this one this morning. Fuel cell. Do we have shares for short? Yes, we do. So they're down 12% right now, guys. A good daily. We're slamming up against this area of support here. This is where we're stopping at the moment. At the moment, you can see the struggle trying to stay above this level right now. This 980 looks like. So let's see what happens there.
Yeah, fuel cell has an earnings miss. So
here it is. Yeah.
Fuel cell will be on my watch list today for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a great catalyst to have here, guys. Already moved quite a bit this morning, already down 12%. Good volume, but this stock can trade very well even without a catalyst. So with a catalyst today could be very exciting. Let's take a look at the next one here. It's going to be Open W. So Open W not looking too good, guys. I hope we can find something better. We do have something better than this. So I'm going to skip on that one. They're down 11%, 114,000 shares traded. No volume for the most part, though. Even on days where they get the most volume, they're not even passing 1.7 million shares. That's the most they've seen. So I have no hopes that's going to trade well today. PLXP, this one here, 18 million shares flow. Volume is not great. I love the gap down here, guys, for a possible continuation. We do have shares for short. It is on a short selling restriction. But man, I just wish it could look better for a low flow too. So yeah, I'm not going to add this one. Geo, let's take a look at Geo this morning. They are down 10.5, 708,000 shares traded right now. This could be okay. Daily's not great, though. Had huge volume yesterday. Let's take a look on how that traded quickly here. We can see, again, pre-market action is very active, and at the market open, it did seem like it got some pretty okay movements. Maybe a halt here, looks like. I'm not sure. On the fence, guys, let's put it as
part of
possible.
Geo, Carlos. Yeah. It looks like not only is it's been dropping a lot, and actually a news article came out saying it was down 65% in the last few years, and the short interest is at 34.5% in DOS. So I have a feeling there's a little look at that, but I think this is kind of starting to cross into meme stock territory. I think the short interest has gotten a little high on a stock that's been heavily shorted, so I think it's probably being targeted by people who are looking to take advantage of that. So I believe it was on WSB's page a couple of days ago, if it's not still there. So might be what's kicking that thing around.
We might need to get like a little column here for WSB tickers now, because this thing is really getting some movement here. All right, so we'll have Geo here on deck, guys, down 10% right now, 710,000 shares traded. At the moment, GameStop is down 7.8, 185,000 shares traded. They had an event yesterday, but I wasn't watching GameStop. Let's see what that did. They actually traded, seems like okay. They did drop down here, found a nice little base here at a daily level, and that traded seemed to have traded nice. So look decent. Right now they're down 7.8, guys. But again, I don't think they look that great. Their daily might be exciting for a possible continuation of this drop here towards this 250 area if we can do that. That looks decent. Maybe a possible. Might not stay there as we go through our list here. What do we have on time? 8:51. All right, we're not gonna be able to get through all of these. It's just insane. Let's look at a few that we do like quite a bit. AMC, definitely one we'll be watching closely today. They already got great volume, 3.4. We'll throw that on there. BB's been on deck for the last couple of days. I think it still should be on here. We'll take a closer look in a second. Plug is interesting, down 3.6 today. So I do like Plug. I think we can take a closer look on Plug as well. Let's look at that one. And then we have INO. Let's see what we have going on here. Big pop yesterday. Today's not doing a whole lot. Could be good for continuation if it starts looking better in the pre-market. But for space and time issues, we'll have to skip this one. Path is not looking great, guys. That's not good. And then anything else here that we've been watching over the last couple of days? Workhorse. Let's look at Workhorse. I think Workhorse doesn't look great, but it could be a good possible. Workhorse is a type of hit or miss type stock, right? It can trade well at times. Thor, what do you like this morning on your end?
So for me, I'm really liking the SPY itself. Actually, I'll probably trade the SPY ETF today, since the market in general looks like it'll be in play. Other than that, I'm kind of liking FCell and Plug. Actually, both of those look like something that would fit, my trading style, and then maybe, keep a couple of those WSB ones on the back burner just to see if something happens. Maybe a little Wish, little Wendy's, little CLOV, something like that. We'll see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, let's take a look.
If Norm was here, he would have probably already made money trading CLOV. He'd probably already be done for the day and doing his news at the same time. So CLOV really woke up about 15 minutes ago or so and has just been on a straight rip from 16 to 1760. without looking back. No red candles at all from 16 to 1760. So not a single red candle. So this thing is just rocking and rolling right now. So sorry, Norm. This one you would have already been done for the day, and the pre-market show would have been over. But hope you're feeling better. Love you.
Don't be surprised if he's half dead in his bed with his phone, just kind of taking
with his laptop
and laughing at us. So don't be surprised. All right, so again, shout out to Norm. He's not feeling better if you missed it this morning, so hopefully he's not feeling well, so hopefully he feels better pretty soon. All right, guys, let's get started here. I'm going to start with, I missed a few, so let's start with Fabio. You're giving us X. We're obviously adding CLOV. That's on our deck. X this morning, they're up 1.6, 292,000 shares traded. I do like the breakout here on X, and X is a stock that can trade very well. The last couple of times it has traded decent, so we'll throw that on there. CLOV definitely on deck, guys. That is on here, 10 million just ripping here, so that's good. Hamish is giving us Apple. Let's take a look at Apple this morning. Right now they're pretty quiet, but depending on how the SPY does, and again, this is why Thor mentioned he's going to be looking at the SPY today and seeing what happens there. Apple and some of these other stocks has just been kind of just moving sideways, not really in play, not doing a whole lot. Apple's one of them, just kind of hanging around here. If the SPY starts breaking out and the Qs can do the same too, this can be a nice little breakout here above this 127, 128.50, great area of resistance, right? So Apple is just one that you just keep in the back of your head. SPY is moving. Look at these stocks that can tend to move with the overall market. So INTC this morning moving sideways. Same thing here, guys. Not a whole lot going on. Just kind of some choppy action. The issue with INTC, though, when it does not have a catalyst, I don't think we ever look at INTC unless it has some kind of catalyst. So it looks like, do they have, no, that's Workhorse. Workhorse actually has earnings. When is this? Pre-market earnings? So Workhorse is May 10th. Today's May 10th. Yeah, so pre-market earnings for Workhorse. Let's take a closer look at that. Did that happen already? I'm not sure. But yeah, pre-market report there for Workhorse this morning. All right, let's take a look. Let's head on down here, guys. CLNE. This one, it is up 1%, 3.7 million shares traded. It doesn't look great pre-market right now. Volume is there. Was great yesterday. Beautiful breakouts here, as you can see. Yeah, it might be worth adding as a possible. I know this list is long, but don't worry, we will definitely fine-tune this. Pretty nice for us here. So CLNE, let's add this here. Heading down, we do have CLV, we do have that. MS, what is MS? Morgan Stanley, I believe. Is that right? MS, Morgan Stanley. Yeah. Yeah, someone mentioned the banks were moving here. Again, they're not doing a whole lot right now as far as volume. Let's look at Bank of America. Looks a little bit better, 500,000 shares traded. Let's look at WFC. It's probably my favorite one to trade. I think it moves the cleanest. Yeah, they're both getting a little pop. And again, they've been sideways for a very long time here. I just don't, if they were here, 47.50, 47 for a possible breakout, maybe. And like it did here, right here, very interesting, right? You got to that level and you broke out nicely. But outside of that, it's going to be tough to see a trade on these, I think. And again, when you have stuff like Envis, right? Look at the way Envis is moving in the pre-market now. When you have stuff like a fuel cell, right? Look at this beautiful pre-market on fuel cell. Even AMC's got a great pre-market action plug. It's hard to make room for a WFC on a day like today, right? So that's going to be one of the things you have to be careful with. All right, Ford's good daily. Yeah, Ford's daily looks great, guys. I think they just don't move a whole lot. And again, like on a day like today, I don't think this will be on here. And this will be great for a catalyst. They have any catalyst going on here. They're putting in an ABCD pattern on the daily, but they need some kind of juice to really get this going here. American Airlines, let's take a look at the airliners today. At the moment, I don't think they're really in play right now, guys. They're up 1.2. Volume is 734, which is decent for American Airlines. Anything above 500,000 into that 1 million mark is great. For them. Again, just don't see anything great at the moment. Let's take a look at CCL right now. CCL is daily. Look at this support that is trying to hold here over the last couple of days. That could be interesting there. But again, just no volume right now. I don't think they're really in play. But we know American Airlines, guys. We have our scanners up in the room. For those on YouTube, we do have scanners available for you. So if you join, your membership does come with some scanners you can have running in the background. You know, we'll wait for that to hit the scanners. We'll wait for that to hit the scanners because right now it doesn't look all that great, and I don't see a possible breakout just yet. Wish does look good, guys. This is very, very nice this morning. Great pre-market action, 4.8. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you see something like this, it's tough to put in on American Airlines right now. Now, don't get me wrong, American Airlines and those type of stocks might be better later down the line, maybe 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. When things kind of start slowing down a little bit around 11:30, we can take a look at those other stocks that we had and see if they are trending somehow. Oh, we are in, yeah, I'm looking at Workhorse. This is May. That was May, Workhorse. We are in June. That's right. I am so off. Thank you guys for throwing that. Man, only one person caught that? What's going on? Workhorse? You guys awake with me? Let's make this happen. So I'm talking about May post May earnings report. Only one person threw that out, or maybe you thought about it, just didn't say. That's okay. If you are sleepy, let's get some coffee. We'll wake you up right now with community announcements because we have a lot on this list. So let's go there. Thor, sorry YouTube, but we just can't go through everything. But I see you guys are throwing out the same thing we're looking at. The only one that I see we haven't looked at was probably BA. Let's take a look at BA. BA had a great pre-market action yesterday. Today, they're up 1.2. But again, very similar to what I mentioned with American Airlines. They're just going sideways right now. I don't think they're really in play at the moment. There was one day here where they had an amazing pre-market action. Where is this? And see here, I will give them too much credit for yesterday. I know they look great, but everything looked great yesterday towards the downside. I mean, you could have picked anything, and you would have had an amazing trade. Here it is on the 8th. On the 8th, they had an amazing pre-market action, and actually this did pretty good here on some couple of drops there. So, all right, let's go to community announcements and what's coming up, and we'll come back and chop up this list pretty nice.
All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Looks like the SPY is rocking. We're going to have an interesting day. But going on in the week, we've had Engineering the Markets, Cycles with a Technical Twist, presented by Jared. And we got coming up next week, we have the Make the Perfect Mountain Pass coming out. So Peter did a mountain pass strategy webinar a few months ago, and it had really high review. So he's taken that and run it with it a little bit, adding some additional criteria and as well as some more examples and how to manage that trade. So really looking forward to that one. It's going to be awesome. We had our guy Michael handling the emotions of trading. As I would say, renowned author at this point. He's got a couple books out there on the psychology subject. He's really been instrumental in helping BBT get on the right side of the mentality. And he did a really nice go on, and this was on yesterday, talking about regret, frustration, anger, and joy, and getting through those things. I mean, it's really, really beneficial stuff. Next week, we've got Nada, and she's going to talk about, can we have a wise and healthy relationship with money? I think that's actually a very interesting concept and to what we talk about. And I think this probably will hammer on FOMO and greed and a lot of those other things that, that we kind of have to deal with as we're struggling to maintain our P&L and all of these other things. So that should be a really great, looking forward to that. We do the BBT member trade of the day. For anyone who's interested in participating, all you need is a Twitter account. So go get your trade, do a screenshot, mark it up, and post it. And then all you need to do to get in on it is you tag at Bearbull Traders, Mike B_BBT, and Norm BBT. And that will get you in there. Use hashtag BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. And then the winner will be announced on the BBT Monday closing show and Twitter. So, and then of course you get all the props and the accolades that come from all of that. And it's a lot of fun getting to watch the BBT family and kind of what they accomplish on day to day out. So please get those in there. Always look forward to seeing those. If you are liking what you're seeing and you'd like to come by and check us out here at Bearbull Traders, we feel really confident that you're going to like it and want to hang out more. So what we do is we give you a entry price so you can come in and check things out. $39, 7-day trial. You can come test drive for 7 days. This gives you access to our chat room. This also gives you access to our onboarding sessions with Carlos, who's running the pre-market show, and then our buddy Kyle, who's a master of software and configurations and can talk to you a lot about that stuff. Come in there. Pre-market 24 is the promo code. and it'll be really good to go. If you come in and you like it, we think you will. We're right now we're running 40% off the annual elite membership for 4th of July coming up. We're promo coding that one Fireworks 40. So come by and check us out. We look forward to seeing you there.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Thor. All right, guys, let's get to this list here. If you haven't done so already, guys, just hit that thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Again, it takes you 2 seconds and it helps us out a ton. So if you could do that, I'll be highly appreciated. All right, guys, let's take a look here. So let's start with our main list, CLF. This morning, this one had a big day yesterday. Today's looking okay. We'll keep it on here. 2.8 right now, up 4.5. Very good. Envis again this morning, just taking off. Thor, did we get the news on what happened on Envis? What's going on with them? Do we know what's causing this madness?
Let's see here.
I
had pulled it up before, and then
yeah, you might have mentioned it. I think I might have forgot. And let's look at.
Oh yeah, Russell. They're getting added to the Russell 2000.
That's what you mentioned. Yeah. So again, they're getting some movement here, guys. Let's see if this sticks. Their daily though looks very, very good here, guys. If we can break out of this area, we've been just banging our heads back and forth here between 20.50 and what seems to be 23. If we can break out of here, this will be nice. And we've seen this run in the past before when he gets the volume. Right now is looking very, very good for the start of something like that if we want to break out of this area. So that looks good. Mara here, guys. I just want to watch one of the Bitcoin plays here. So we'll look at this one. I think this one's daily looks very nice. If we can break out of 27, it could be interesting. Or a breakdown here back to this 24 level. But I think towards the top, you have a better chance of a nice squeeze, especially because the last couple of weeks, all you've seen is a heavy, heavy downtrend. Jerry spoke about this level they're trying to bounce off here. This 200 moving average. So hopefully we can get something going there. Here is Space. Space is starting to look very nice, guys. Was in the red this morning, now gapping up above the previous day close line, and the day looks very good, guys. Can we get up to some of these highs we have here? Looking very nice. Great volume, up 2.7. Fuel cell, again, beautiful pre-market action. That's going to stay. AMC is good. Plug. Oh man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to get rid of so many here. We could make 2 lists out of this one, I think. So Wish is okay. CLV is good. Yeah, we got to be really picky now. Let's do this. Let's see what else we can remove here from our secondary list. NCTY, that's going to come off. After looking at our list in the top, this doesn't look great. Geo, yeah, it's going to come off for now. Let's get rid of that one. GameStop starting to look alive here, guys. Getting some volume the last couple of minutes here. That's good. Workhorse could be decent. X, I like X, guys. We got to take it off today. I think we can find something a little bit better from our main list all the way up here. OCGN, beautiful drop. It is on short selling restriction. I'm concerned this could be choppy though. I don't know. Hopefully somebody else will watch it. I'm going to take it off my list. Again, we just got to be picky, guys, right? CLNE, this one is looking okay. Low flow stocks, we have one here, AEMD. We also have OSAT and MDLY. I think MDLY looks probably the best. Let's get rid of OSAT here. This is selling down a little bit. AEMD selling down. We do not have shares for sure. I think MDLY might be the best one. And also what I like about this one, this is their first day up to bat here, right? AEMD already had a couple of days in here. The other one did as well. Let's keep Medley today on list for the low flow of the day for me. CLNE looks okay. Workhorse. GameStop starting to come alive, and TIGR really heading higher here, trying to get to that 29 level. All right, let's move some stuff down, guys. Here is Wish. Wish looks good. A couple of really big days here as far as look how wide these candles are on the daily. So that could be good for us. Let's see what kind of play we're going to get today. CLOV, we can keep this one to start to get going. Plug, we're going to move down. We're going to move down Plug. I do like Plug, but we're going to move it down just to make space. Out of AMC, where's BB? We don't have BB here today? Where's BB? We have to have BB on the possibles list. That's hot. That's always been hot the last couple of days. So Wish, CLOV, AMC, Fuel Cell is good. Space, Mara. Mara is good. Envis and CLF. CLF, we'll move CLF down. All right, way too many today. Way too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can work with that. Let's do levels for that, and then we'll look at our moderators lineup, see what they have going on this morning. But we can work with this. Let's go to MVIS, guys. Looking really good this morning. Great pre-market action right now. Again, they're getting added to the Russell. So here they're doing pretty well. Above the highs of the pre-market. The high of the pre-market, by the way, already taken care by the highs from the last 2 trading days. You got tons of levels in here. It's a really, really good daily on MVIS. After we broke out from this area here, we had a lot of fun with it here, and then it just went on this consolidation where it was not really doing much. They have broken out of that the last couple of days. Let's see if this catalyst can get them going. We have a level at 25.73 is the next level on the daily. 27.85. Let's move to the left. Do we have anything here in this big gap? Yes, we do. Right over here, we do have a level over at 24.15 right there, guys. So let's mark that down. And I think that's pretty good now. 24.15, 25.73, and 27.85. And then towards the bottom, guys, plenty highs and lows from the last 2 trading days and previous day close, doing an amazing job. You also have such a great level here. I'm going to mark it down because it's just sticking out here. This 19.22. Look how great that level is towards the bottom, guys. There's tons of resistance happening there. That can become now great support if we were to drop. Does not look like that now, but we're ready if things do take a turn for the worse here. Here's Mara. So again, Bitcoin, this thing's been winding up nicely. Looking for a possible breakout. I would love to see that happening here on Mara. Let's get some levels. We have a great one here. Area of support and resisting at 31.13. Towards the bottom of that, we have one level here, 28.41. It is not a 31.13, guys. I mean, this level is great right there. You can see how much touches that one has. It only has one touch here, maybe this one here. So I won't put too much weight on it, but it's the best level you have in recent times here for Mara. Towards the bottom, guys, tons of stuff here happening, highs and lows. Previous day close, we really want this to push up if it can. Pre-market's okay. Volume is a little bit light though, 388. That could be better, actually. You know what? I'm going to put this down here. I know Jared is watching this one, so if Jared calls out something nice, we can always tune in and see what's happening there. Here is Space. So Space right now, high of the pre-market is looking at 36.39. So let's throw a level there. And then above that, you do have the highs from the last 2 trading days. They're doing a pretty good job. I do like the daily on Space. We're bouncing off this 35 area of great support there. Let's see if that can continue. 34.13 is the low of the pre-market at the moment. And then towards the bottom here, we got a great level, 31.36. If we were to head down here any lower towards that pre-market low. But right now, looking good, up 2.8 with 46,000 shares traded. Here's Fuel Cell this morning. They are very, very active, guys. I really like this pre-market action. Probably one of the best pre-market actions we have this morning. Low of the pre-market, 9.980. So throw that level there, and you can see that level also being great area support in late May and early June right on there. That's pretty nice. Towards the bottom, we do have another level here at 895. We'll throw a level there. Great area support there. A couple of touches, and then becomes resistance on the way up. So plenty of stuff there. I'm going to mark this one down because this one's also here, just kind of very, very apparent at 831. Another great level of support. Look at just the back and forth here until we had the actual breakout. Towards the top, guys, there's a level right between the high of the pre-market and the low of the pre-market, which is this one right on here. There's a lot of touches on this level, 1061. You can see a couple of wicks here, and then you also have a couple of days also having a struggle getting above that right over here, opening and closing right around that area. You got a couple that did get above, but quickly slam right back down. See, when I see something like this one here, you have your wick, but then it ends up slamming below this level, 1061. That just gives that level a little more strength, guys. So that 1061 looking pretty good there. Then towards the top, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, and your pre-market high is pretty much the lows from 2 days ago right on. So you do not need to add anything else. Pre-market action looking great, guys. This is what we're looking for. Look at the nice drop. You're getting a little bit of a bounce here, the kind of a double bottom support at 980. Getting above the VWAP. Let's see if there's any type of continuation that we get here with some amazing volume. AMC this morning, it's just kind of stuck at the moment, just kind of moving sideways a little bit here. Their daily's nice though. Let's remove some of these levels. Let's get some fresh ones. Here we go. And the low of the pre-market for AMC sitting at 45.60. They've been a little bit choppier. We had a lot of fun here and here and even here. This was fun too. Lately hasn't been as great as those days, but let's see, things can pick up and take off any minute here with these type of stocks. So 45.60, low of the pre-market, and then below that 38.05, guys. Great level here, area of resistance, and then a little bit of support happening here and here. Towards the top, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You do not need to add any more there. CLOV, the volume is just insane, guys. I think I'm going to get rid of some of these levels here. Let's get rid of that and let's do some fresh ones. We do have high of your pre-market now at 1879. Is trying to get there this morning. So again, great volume right now, 13 million shares traded. Beautiful bounce from the low of the pre-market at 1587. So we'll throw a level there. And then towards the top, do we have anything over here? Is this all-time highs? I believe we said this was all-time highs yesterday, over on 29. Yes. So the only thing we could do here, guys, is go into yesterday's action and the day before. So let's go in there and see what do we have. So that's your 1879. That's your low of your pre-market there. You can see yesterday that has some action as well. A lot of touches happening there, so that's good. Slightly above that, you have another great level here. Tons of touches here around 1971. So let's mark that. And we'll go to the left a little more here, and then here heading more to the left, I like this level here, guys, at 2071. Look at the change in direction. That's always good for a level. You want to add a little more weight to that, and then slightly above that here you have another area consolidation, 2126. I know these levels seem pretty close, but guys, some of these levels are $1 away. 1971, 2071, $1 move on a stock that's sitting at 18 bucks is really good, right? So don't get fooled by how close these levels are. That dollar amount, this thing is moving very nicely. Continues to rip here, guys. Looks like it wants to get to that 1879. Let's see what happens there. And the last one on our main list this morning is Wish. Wish sold off pretty bad yesterday. Today they are up 7%. 1175 is your high of your pre-market. Your low of your pre-market, pretty much where the previous day close is. So we don't have to mark that down. That's done there for you. In the pre-market, we do have a couple of levels here. We do have this one we're struggling at right now. The price action 1135. We got a couple of touches there, so I want to mark that down there as well. And then towards the top, we have to do the same thing we did with CLOV. We got to go in here, look at yesterday's action. Here's Wish. We do have a couple of levels here. Right over here at 1264. We have another one here around 1328. So a couple of levels towards the top there, just in case this thing is going to rip higher. All right, we got through that, guys. This list is just massive. Even our secondary list looks very good. There's some stuff in here that looks great. So today's one of those days, again, with you can't have FOMO because there's just so much to watch. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Let's bring this in. Let's bring our visuals and see what we have going on here. Here we go. Let's bring this over, resize this so it makes sense for you guys. And let's go up here. What do we have? All right. Let's start with what do we have here? Mike. So Mike has NVIDIA, mRNA, JP Morgan. Dima is looking at Mara, Envis, X, and Apple. Andrew is looking at AMC, CLOV, Envis, MDLY, Fuel Cell, and whatever is Brian is watching. Peter is looking at busy IPOs for today. ATY. I'm not going to read all these, but again, here are your IPOs for today, guys. They'll be opening out throughout the day, and Peter does an amazing job of calling them out here in the notifications tab. When that does happen, he has a nice alarm that sets off when that takes place. Not trading today, but if Jared was going to be trading CLOV, he'll be looking at that one. He'll be looking at Envis and also TLT this morning. Here is Thor. He is looking at, well, Thor, I'll let you read out your list and what you have going on today there.
I actually just added whatever Brian is watching because I really think that should just be a way to do things. But otherwise, I'm watching MVIS, Tau, Clove, and FCell. And then for backup, I've got TLRY, Wish, and Neo.
All right, excellent. Tiffany's looking at CLOV, Envis, and Tesla as a secondary. Eamon has MAX, mRNA, secondary list, VP, Tiger, and PFE. Peter's list, AMD, of course, CLOV, Fuel Cell, secondary list, Wish, and Envis this morning. John is looking at GameStop, mRNA, and NVIDIA. Brian's list, which we are copying, is Envis, CLOV, Tau, TIGR, and also MED. Someone mentioned MED looks good. We got to take a look at that this morning as well. Guys, 9:17, running a little bit late, and yes, I noticed that when I'm starting to run late, I start to talk a lot faster. So I apologize for that. But on YouTube, you can actually slow things down. You can put it at 0.5. And you can still keep up. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. We highly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if it's your first time here. We are live every market day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to about 9:15, 9:18 when we're running late. So thank you for that. Have a great trading day. Again, guys, remember, we've been preaching this all week. No FOMO. That's for everybody, our members too. Just no FOMO. There's so much to watch, so much going on this week. Look at this gappers list. I mean, there's like 20 on each side, right? So it's a lot happening. Just stick to your list, about 5 or 6 or even less the better. You want to think about being focused here. Focus is the key. Focus on what you have going on. If someone calls something out, move to it. If you're not already in a trade, see what's happening there, assess it, look at your trade book. Does it make sense? Then take the trade. I know it sounds easier said than done, but you have to be process driven, especially on the way things are right now with so much to watch. So take care, guys. Trade safe. Hit that thumbs up. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
And Thor, thank you for joining us and covering for Norm. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.